Hello and welcome to the Young Guns. We're finally all here, even though we all should have been here the whole time. And tonight we're going to go over a recap from this past weekend in college basketball, even though nobody cares. And we're going to give you our picks for the upcoming week because that's the piece of this whole thing that people actually care about. So grab the hot cocoa out of the microwave, that bacon off the stove, and let's chomp down on this puppy. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
We're doing great. How are you doing, Mike?
Doing
Good.
fantastic.
Doing good.
How's everybody else doing tonight?
Wonderful.
All right. We ready to get this show on the road?
All right. I'll do the recaps.
All right. The first win for the Big 12 in the final Big 12 SEC Challenge. Oh, man, that is a big win for Bob Huggins in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this game, West Virginia controlled the game. The home crowd, country road, everything was rolling. It looked like they were going to get out there with a comfortable win, but then they allowed Auburn to come back, and they almost lost the game. But they pulled away just at the very end. They found a way to win by 3. So, really big win for Bob Huggins. They needed it for their tournament resume because, I mean, even though the Big 12 is stacked and you can get in with like an 18-14 record, you still have to find 18 wins. So this is a big step in the right direction for West Virginia. I think this is really going to help them out for the tournament resume. I don't know if they're going to make the tournament, but Auburn, really bad week for Bruce Pearl, losing 2 games in a row. One at home to end the win streak at home against A&M, and now this game. But, again, a huge win for West Virginia.
Yeah, man. Like, I thought they were going to blow it, and I couldn't wait to see GVC's reaction, man. I knew he would flip out if they blew this game, but, man, what a win for West Virginia. I mean, I think it's impressive what Bob Huggins is doing to this program, even without Oscar Tshiebwe, still taking them to NCAA tournaments. So, a lot of respect to the Huggy Bear, even though I never really liked him when they were in the Big East. Gotta respect him and respect the program and the culture of still winning, even with losing their huge recruit Oscar Tshiebwe and the job that he's been doing at Kentucky. Still winning without him. Impressive stuff from the Mountaineers.
Yeah, I mean, it was like big win for West Virginia in helping them getting into the NCAA tournament. Is Auburn going to be still in the top 25 tomorrow? That is a question we'll have to find out for sure. Austin, your takeaway from this game?
Auburn, they've been really good the last few years. And I was looking forward to this game. I got to see quite a bit of it. West Virginia looked really, really good, and then they had their moment where it was like, oh boy, yikes. This is, yeah. And I don't know if it was because Auburn is that team that, they are resilient. Bruce Pearl, his guys play for him hard. And West Virginia, they got to stop making these stupid mistakes. The dumb mistakes they make, turning the basketball over, giving up easy transition points. A team like Auburn, they will make you pay for that. And I think that's what almost cost them the game at the end. But West Virginia, resilient, was able to rally and to hold on to it at the end. Like Jeffrey said, this is a very good quad 1 win on their resume. The committee's going to look at it and say, they beat Auburn, and if Auburn goes on to win the SEC this year, it's going to look even better on that resume. But overall, I think this is a great win for West Virginia. Auburn, so close, but not there yet.
Congratulations, Auburn, on showing everyone that you are fake good and you love to choke. You're a choke artist. West Virginia did sort of let this game slip away, but they had enough of a chokehold on the game, and West Virginia won. So, yippee. Congrats to West Virginia. Hopefully this creates momentum for you and you can have yet another deep run in the tournament. Auburn, show up next time. Better luck next time, and you better be thankful if you even make the NIT. I don't see you making it to anything. So congratulations on a crappy year. We'll see you next year. You might as well just toss the bag in. Let's roll.
They're still safely in the tournament field right now, man. I mean, they're gonna have to lose a lot more if they're gonna not make the tournament.
And they're still one of the favorites.
They showed. They gave all their effort. They still lost. That's not a tournament-worthy team. I'm sorry.
All right.
So let me ask you a question, Buckham. I know we're gonna get to the game. Does that mean that Alabama's not a tournament team then?
No. Alabama has a better
Alabama's a top 5 team that lost the game on the road. It happens, you know. I mean, is Kansas not a tournament team because they lost to TCU? No, I'm just saying all these, you know, arguments say Auburn is gonna have to lose a lot more if they're gonna miss tournament. I'm just saying, you know.
Yes.
Okay. Let me rephrase. You're not going to make a deep run. That's what every program needs to do. We're not good for it. Get out of town.
Yeah, deep breath.
All
I'm
right.
fine.
Buckeye Mike being the cynic of the group tonight. I like it. There we go.
A fiery start from Mike. Jeffrey called this one the prophet of the Young Guns.
Prophecy from Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports. Give
So
us
I
your.
was very angry with this game, and then it just became way. I was just like, I give up. Xavier, you suck. You're garbage. You're a piece of crap, and let's just get rid of the whole thing.
I love how a team loses one game and they're suddenly garbage because, like, last week, oh, man, Xavier is the best team in the Big East, which, by the way, they're still at the top of the Big East last I checked. Because, I mean, the chat, I'm not saying, like, everybody's saying that Xavier had this game. Creighton's record was poor. They were 12-8 coming in this game. But Ryan Cockburn, the center, missed 3 games due to injury. He came back. He wasn't healthy. Sounds familiar. IU. They went through a rough stretch when they were really injured. It happens to all teams. Creighton is really, really good. They have NBA players up and down the roster. At home, Creighton is tough to beat. The home crowd is ridiculous. And when they're wearing pink for breast cancer awareness, they really are tough to beat. They play really good when they wear pink. All the games that they've worn pink in the past, they play really, really hard. So I was like, I'll just take a shot. Everybody's picking Xavier, I'll take Creighton. And it happened. I mean, I'm not a prophet. It was just, to me, it was a pretty simple pick. I felt that Creighton was going to win. I don't think Xavier's a bad team. Xavier's a really good team. They wouldn't have won all the games they have if they are garbage, as you said, Buckeye Mike. But winning at Creighton's tough when they're healthy, man. And they got things rolling. Creighton could be a team that advances far in the NCAAs if they, keep playing the way they are. And I still think Xavier's really good. Maybe they're not a top 10 team, but they're still a really good team.
I was going to say, if you're a prophet for this team, I guess that makes me a prophet for Indiana because it's 4 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, we're not prophets, man. We got a game right. You know, it's funny, though.
Yeah.
Just like Creighton was going to win. I felt it, though. And they played really good.
I mean, at the end of the day, I might be a harsh critic tonight, but at the end of the day, these teams played their hearts out. Unless you're Louisville, 2-15, that's a poor excuse for a team. I'm sorry. You played your hearts out and you just came up. I mean, doesn't mean I can't be a harsh critic. But at the end of the day, to be realistic, it just came up short.
What a fun year for the Big East this year, man. I mean, we're going to get to more Big East teams in the future, but there's 3 teams tied for first. And now that Creighton's healthy, man, it's a fun year for the Big East. Like when you don't have that one dominant team like Villanova usually is. They're down with Cal Neptune, but they're not healthy right now. Justin Moore, their best player, is still hurt. So we'll see if they can make a run when he gets back. But it's just a fun year for the Big East this year. I mean, it's not quite back to what it was, but it's getting better. It's recovering.
I tell you what, though, I'm just kind of like, Don't want to mess with Creighton at home, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jeffrey kind of touched on this, but this is how Creighton does it every year. It seems around this time, sometimes closer to March, they begin their run and they make a deep run in the Big East tournament. And I feel like now that they're healthy and they're beginning to find their way again, that they're gonna start getting it going again. We're gonna see Creighton on a lot of marquees coming up, and they're gonna have their chance to make their resume better. And this is a great start to that. Xavier, I think I could safely say is a tournament team. I think, unless they have an epic collapse down the stretch, which has been happened in the past with teams before. But I'm going to safely say this is a quad one win, and they're a tournament team, so this is going to look good on the resume. But all credit goes to Creighton. They played their hearts out, and they were inspired because they were wearing the pink, which is for a great cause. Breast cancer is something serious that some people just don't fight back from. Not to get too sappy, but when teams wear pink, it's kind of one of those motivating factors. I think that played a lot into it, and Xavier just didn't bring their A game that night. But congratulations, Creighton. Hopefully you could put it together and we could see you maybe make a deep run in the Big East tournament, maybe win it, and we'll see where you go in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, do you want to add anything else?
Nope.
Oh, man. I guess this really shows that the Big 12 really is the best conference in college basketball.
Look away,
Well,
Jackson. This game
I
never
mean-
happened.
No, I got to face it. I got
I
to
mean-
face it one way or the other.
Alabama is to this point, been a top 5 team. I mean, they have been steamrolling everybody that they've played. Kentucky, every team in the SEC essentially. They've just been steamrolling everybody. In the non-conference, they were elite, only having a couple losses. So, I mean, they're really good. But you go on the road and you play at Oklahoma, a team that's desperate. Again, they need a big win for their tournament resume. And it's like Grant Sherfield, the Nevada transfer, played out of his mind. I mean, you can't replicate that performance again. That's how good he played. I mean, he couldn't miss. He was on fire. And then, because, I mean, you look at the score. I mean, with 10 to go in the game was fairly close. And then he just went off at the end. So, at the end of the day, even though this was a blowout, it technically was a close game until the end when Oklahoma just put it in final gear. So, I mean, really good win for Oklahoma. They played the game of their life, but Alabama did not play their best game, and Oklahoma played one of the best games you're ever going to see them play. So, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you're a top 5 team in the country and you go to another team in a Power 6 conference thinking you're just going to blow them out. I mean, you're not going to blow out most teams in the country. And in fact, if you just go into it thinking that way, you're going to get your butts kicked. And the Sooners came to play and the Tide didn't. So that's what happens in these sort of situations.
It was like Wednesday night where starting off they were looking very sloppy, but then they got lucky at the end of the game. But the luck ran out against Oklahoma. Now, we know Alabama won't be number 2 tomorrow on Monday, but they should be, I'm guessing, number 5 in the nation tomorrow. That's my take on the Crimson Tide. But Oklahoma, I think you just helped yourself in a bid for March Madness. And Bama needs Brandon Miller to ball out in every game, as Edward said in the chat.
When he struggles, team struggles. You got that right, Mr. Edward. You got that right, Radical Edward.
You got to get more consistent production out of the rest of the players, though. I mean, you cannot rely on him to win every game for you. A lot of teams do that, and Alabama's talented enough to, withstand an off game. And to be honest, they actually were for a while. He had poor performances earlier in the year, and Alabama still won, but they're in a little rut right now. I mean, I think they'll get out of it. We'll see.
Yes, they will, Jeffrey. Yes, they will.
Yeah. Boy, howdy. Did we see Oklahoma tonight or what? I'm kind of lost for words. I wasn't expecting Alabama to lose by this much. No need for overreaction because, every team has one of these. And, like Jeffrey and Jackson pointed out, they've kind of been getting the lucky end of the break a lot here lately. And now they kind of got the break speed off of them. But I think this will serve them well in the long run, to realize, hey, Oklahoma, they might be a tournament team, might be, just depending on how the chips fall. But I think Alabama will learn from this. They'll take from this, and I think it'll do them some good, coming down the stretch when they play some of the better SEC teams, because they still got Tennessee. Still got Tennessee. They still got, I think they still have Kentucky on the schedule again, and those are some tough games to play. But congratulations, Oklahoma. You once again proved that the Big 12 is superior for the Big 12 is superior for the time being. And Alabama, well, you got some work to do. I
Yes,
say get back in the
yes, they do.
gym 7
Austin.
a.m. tomorrow.
Yep, Austin. To your point, where you said Kentucky's on the schedule again. Fortunately, Bama's not going to play Kentucky a second time, but they will play Auburn twice, and you got a good road matchup at Tennessee ahead of you, but you got to rebound against Vanderbilt and LSU and Florida first.
Yeah, if you can't beat Vandy, I can't help you guys there. That's
No.
beside the point. Anyway, congratulations, Oklahoma, and congratulations to the Big 12 on winning the challenge. Alabama, fix what you got. That's all I got to say.
On this game, Alabama slipped up. You let it slip, and struggled all together. Oklahoma is not a superior team. Alabama was just completely off, and Oklahoma came out with a better win, better team that night, and I don't think the Tide forgot to show up, but things just weren't clicking. Congrats to the Big 12. Half your teams are completely overrated. And yeah. My point exactly.
That
Well, I
the
mean,
shocker of the day.
This game, I mean, I can't remember. I don't know if anybody else picked Missouri. Maybe one of you guys did as well, but I picked Missouri. Yeah, you did. Missouri has been playing well. I mean, they've had a couple rough games, but I mean, you kind of felt like Missouri was going to treat this as like a statement game. It was either going to go one or two ways. They were either going to fall short and lose, or they were going to play really well and dominate. And they did. I mean, the home crowd, Missouri basketball is back right now. Even if it's for brief, we don't know if they're going to continually be good in the future. But Dennis Gates in his first year has Missouri playing really well. And Iowa State's in a little bit of a rut right now. I mean, yeah, they did beat K-State, but I mean, they've been slipping a bit. Like they've lost a couple, more than they've won the last few games. I mean, they're still playing well, but Missouri really needed this game. it was at home and they got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jeffrey in that. Honestly, I was overlooking Missouri a bit going into this game. Like, none of their wins really impressed me. Iowa State beating Kansas State really impressed me. I knew Missouri's crowd would be great, but I didn't think it would carry them this much. And that Iowa State might have also underestimated them a bit too. But yeah, Missouri really impressed me today. And yeah, they have my respect now after what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big win for Mizzou in the bubble watch. And Iowa State, you're tied for the Big 12 lead, but still, though, you got to get back on your feet there, boys. You got a big Monday night road matchup against Texas Tech. I know you don't like the road compared to home, but got to step it up on the road, boys. Let's step it up on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Shocker of the day. I was going into this thinking, okay, Iowa State, Missouri. Iowa State, one of the best teams in the Big 12. Missouri in the middle of the pack, most of the time, bottom of the SEC. I was thinking, okay, let's just see what happens. Maybe Missouri gives them a little bit of a scare. Boy, did they give them more than a scare. They beat the life out of them. Iowa State did not look like the team that took Kansas to the limit in the fog. They look like the team that should be on the bubble. Missouri looked like made them look like one of the best teams in the country, and that's saying a lot because Missouri has not been very good lately. But I think it's one of those anomaly games, that we keep speaking about. I think Iowa State, they'll get it right. They'll get back. I think this was just a Missouri, hey, we're back, baby. We're coming. We're for real. And we're no longer the punching bag of the SEC. We're here. We're here to stay, and we're going to show the Big 12 who we are. And I think that's what this game was. Congratulations, Missouri, on such a great win. Like I said, another good tournament resume builder. And unless Iowa State has a major collapse, and I mean major because of where they sit, they should be a surefire tournament team. Don't know what seed, won't say, because that's a whole nother crazy scenario. But congratulations, Missouri, on the win. And let's even keep this going. And I would think you need to fix this prompto if you want to win the Big 12. If not, Baylor, Kansas will tear you apart.
Yeah, Iowa State didn't show up. Missouri showed up. Iowa State took Missouri for granted. Didn't play overall good ball. And, yeah, congrats, Missouri, even though you absolutely do not deserve it. You beat a fake Iowa State team who can't prove themselves worth a dang. So, yeah, congrats. And, yeah, that's that.
That was a really good win for Missouri. I don't think we should understate that. I mean, Iowa State has lost a couple games. They're still, to Austin's point, one of the best Big 12 teams record-wise right now. That was a really good win for Missouri. That I wouldn't say it was not a good win. It was a good win.
Is it really, though? I mean, come on.
I mean, the committee, they'll look at it as a great win based on what Missouri usually is. So, and based on what the standings are at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment. That's not to say that the standings will end up worse than they are now. Because
very true.
If this team is rearing its head now, it's just going to get worse eventually. Look at Ohio State. Ohio State was going into the season really good, had some good wins, and look where they're at now. I mean, this is pathetic. This is Ohio State level outing, and this is pathetic. Disgusting.
Yeah, I agree. It was a terrible performance. We're going to have to see which way Iowa State goes from here. They could fall apart, but to Jackson's point, got a huge game at Texas Tech. You don't want Texas Tech to get their first Big 12 win against you, Iowa State. So, I mean, we'll see where they go from here. I mean, you could be right. They could collapse or they could get their act together.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth, Jeffrey. This is basically, is Iowa State for real or not? We'll find out Monday night.
But as we said, Texas Tech finally getting their first win since Big 12 play started because they haven't got a Big 12 win. So, and they haven't played a non-conference opponent since until now.
I mean, this was essentially the game between the two teams in their respective conferences that were on complete collapse. LSU and Texas Tech. Who was going to get the win? I think I picked Tech. I can't remember. But
LSU?
But LSU's in a free fall, and they're really struggling. This was a game they should have won. I mean, it was at home. And judging by the results of the other Big 12 SEC Challenge games, the home team won most of their games. So that was not a good loss for LSU. I mean, their tournament hopes are not completely dashed. Obviously, in the SEC, there's still plenty of games that you can get resume-building wins. But if you cannot beat the bottom team in the Big 12, and I obviously understand that the Big 12 is really good and that every single team in the Big 12 is a solid team. There's not a bad team in the league, but if you're LSU, you got to win this game. Couldn't get it done. And for Texas Tech, this keeps you afloat. You're back over 500 at 11-10, and you're going to have to start getting some Big 12 wins. You haven't got any yet, but if you want to have a shot to make the tournament, you're going to have to get some wins down the stretch. But good win for Texas Tech, but LSU is definitely in a free fall.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin O'Banner, man, was a beast for Oral Roberts. Nice to see him put together another good performance for Texas Tech. Was good last year. Doesn't really have much help, so at least he gets some credit for what he's been doing all year long.
Well, if Texas Tech, well, I don't know what's up with either one of these schools, but they're not looking very good at the moment. But hey, another big win for the Big 12 and the Big 12 SEC Challenge.
Yep, another big win. You know, Texas Tech, I think they're staying afloat, you know, ever since that national title run that they had. After that, they've kind of changed a little bit. You know, of course, you lose players. You know that obviously that's a big reason why most teams aren't the same after their national title run. That end up don't win a lot, leave or transfer. But Texas Tech seems like they had gotten the worst end of that deal more than normal. But they were able to win this game, stay afloat. And for LSU, this was a game you should have had, like Jeffrey said, you know, if you want a chance to make the tournament, this is a game that you're going to look back on and say, dang it, why didn't we beat this team? Because the SEC is no joke. You got Bama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida, all them, etc. It doesn't get no easier. This was probably – there's no easy win in college basketball, but Texas Tech is a game that you should look at as an easy win, as an easy W, so to speak. But you didn't get it done, and it's going to hurt your tournament resume. But for Texas Tech, I think this is a good win. You know, they're back afloat, hopefully again. They just got to get that first Big 12 win, and hopefully they can get it rolling. Congratulations to Texas Tech. Hopefully they can finally finish putting it together and continue to close out games. And for LSU, it's looking rough.
I'm very upset and disappointed with LSU because you're supposed to win so you can destroy the stupid, annoying moniker of LSU. That whole thing, that whole shtick is annoying and stupid. It's disrespectful. And here you are letting people trash you because you can't play worth a dang and win a game that you're supposed to win. You're a bottom feeder against another bottom feeder, and you don't show up, and then you wonder why people trash you. Show up and win worth a dang and get these people to shut up. It's annoying and stupid when I have to sit here half the time and hear LS who? LS who?
Well, I mean, you
LSU?
could have LSU lose and not say it, but people are going to do that.
I mean, my point is when UCLA loses, you don't hear people say, who's CLA?
Well, again,
Because it doesn't make
don't-
sense.
People
But
don't have to
LSU?
do it. People don't have to do it, but people are going to do it.
LSU makes a lot of sense.
FS Poo make more sense than L. And that's annoying too. Anyway, bottom feeders, somebody was going to have to lose. This is disgracefully and disrespectfully.
Well,
annoying.
Texas Tech beat LSU to Saturday, so.
Overall bad performance from LSU. And yeah, quit being a choke artist, or guess what? Disband the program because you're not worthy.
Oh, man. You really are a harsh critic tonight, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Man, I kept my eye on this game for a while.
Oh, man, the future Big 12 matchup. That looks pretty cool.
Mhm.
Houston, I mean, they seem to be kind of, as you would say, in a struggling time as well. I mean, kind of in a funk, I guess. I mean, they're not playing that well. I mean, you lose to Temple. I mean, and then this game is a game you should probably win by 15. I mean, Cincinnati is better than Temple, I would think. But Temple's been playing better. They've gotten healthy and everything. Khalif Battle's playing really well. But, I mean, Cincinnati, they've got good players. Landers Nolly had a really good game. The Virginia Tech / Memphis transfer. So he had a really good game. But Houston, I mean, you got Jarris Walker, 5-star freshman. He's playing really well. Marcus Sasser needs to step his game up a bit. He struggled in this one a little bit. But I think Houston's a really good team. But the way they're playing right now, just at this last 3 or 4 game stretch where they haven't played as well, and it kind of could go even further back, like when they barely beat UCF like 6 or 7 games ago. They've had some struggles lately, and people are saying that Houston's a Final Four team. I think Houston could be a Final Four team. I really do. I think they are talented enough. And Kelvin Sampson is a coach that he's always gotten more out of his team, especially come tournament time. They always advance further than what people think. But a lot of people saying that they're automatically Final Four contenders. They haven't been playing like a Final Four team last few games. I do think Houston could be a Final Four team, and they got a really good win here, but they have not been playing their best basketball last few games.
It's like they're playing down to their opponents, man. That is not good. You cannot do that in March.
Mm-hmm.
Some people even
right
have
now-
Houston as their,
Wait, sorry.
some
can I go
people
first,
even
Austin?
have Houston as their national champion.
Mhm. Yeah, Houston, in my opinion, they're looking like Gonzaga right now. And by the way that I say they're looking like Gonzaga, I don't think they're going to make it past the round of 32. Like the way that they're playing, man, there's these teams sneak up on them. And in the tournament, like you're not going to be playing teams for them in the American. You're probably going to be playing mostly Power 6 teams or teams that have proven themselves to be good enough to make the tournament. So I don't know. I don't trust Houston right now. I think they're going to be an upsetter once March Madness comes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't play down to your opponents. That is bad. And, you know, whatever magic you had November, December, bring it back, bro.
Yeah.
This game, I didn't get to catch much of it, but I saw the highlights of it. You know, they lost to Temple, which is mind-boggling. That's not going to look good on the resume. But they were able to bounce back. You know, I thought they would bounce back better than they did in this game. I mean, it took a 3 to tie it at the very end, and then their defense clamped down, pulled away, and got the win. Houston, they are playing playing with teams that are below them, and one of these days it's going to bite them in the butt because it did with Temple and Cincinnati. It almost did, and Cincinnati, to Jeffrey's point, is a way better team than Temple. But I think a lot of people, like Jeffrey said, have Houston Final Four. Some even have them national champions. Well, the way they've been playing the last few weeks, they ain't looking like it.
Mm-hmm.
If they could get it together, sure. But also to Will's point, up 2 slots above me, they could be on upset alert. It just all depends on which Houston team shows up. Congratulations, Houston. And hopefully you can keep it going.
So every year we see teams do this all the time. And then when the tournament comes around, they turn the Jets on and they go rocky and beat the ever-loving crap out of every team they play. That being said, this doesn't surprise me. This game was close. Both teams are really good. Here's something crazy. I'm predicting right now that Houston will play for the national championship.
Against who?
I have no idea. I don't care. The only key to this prediction is that they will play.
Will it be against the Big 12 opponent? That's the question.
No.
No? Okay. Moving on. Oh, man, that was a good one. Illinois and Wisconsin. Jeffrey, give us your take.
Whatever I said about LSU in a free fall, apply that to Wisconsin. Essentially, they're in a free fall. And granted, part of the reason Tyler Wall being out was tough. I mean, he's a really good player. He's the leading scorer on the team. But he's back now. And you're still losing. And this was a game where Wisconsin's style of play, normally gets them over the top. But for whatever reason, just watching Wisconsin basketball, the players that they have, they just don't have that Brad Davison type of player that finds ways to win the game for you with thousands of different ways. So, I mean, I'm just like Connor Seagen, I think is a player that could potentially get to that point. I think Connor Seagen is a really good player, but he's a freshman, so he has ways to go. But they just don't have that player. Everybody on the team, they're just not athletic enough. They can't get in the paint. They're not bullying their way through. And Matthew Meyer for Illinois was a matchup nightmare for Wisconsin. They could not stop him. And he was getting whatever he wanted. He had almost 30 points. I mean, literally, Illinois did not actually play that well. It was just him. He was on fire. But Wisconsin couldn't stop him. But Wisconsin, they're going to have to turn it around. I mean, you would think they will because, I mean, it's Greg Gard. I mean, they've been a consistent program. You think they'll find a way. But I don't know, man. They got some things to figure out, and the way they're playing right now, it's not looking like they're going to be able to. But really good win for Illinois. It was essentially a one-man band with Matthew Meyer, but Wisconsin needs a lot of help right now.
To me, I feel like Wisconsin really. I know, obviously, he left to go to the draft last year, but if that team had Johnny Davis, it would be a tournament team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really missing him. They're really missing a consistent shooter that can score them points, like Meyer for Illinois. Like they're just really missing one of those guys right now. And yeah, looks like we won't be seeing any rugby in the NCAA tournament this year, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering if this is going to be enough for Illinois to get into the March Madness this year, and I'm wondering about Wisconsin because they look pretty. They did not look good yesterday. Austin, your take?
Um, Wisconsin, they need some help. Like Jeffrey has mentioned, they need some help. And as Edward pointed out in the chat, this is not the Badger teams of past. They've had a lot of great teams. Everyone remembers the team that beat Kentucky, 38-1, always be remembered. But this is not that team, not even close. And they're struggling to score, in a league now where if you can't score, you can't win. Because we're in an era now where defense is almost non-existent half the time. Almost, not always, almost.
Mhm.
But congratulations to Illinois on the win. A lot of people had them picked as a Final Four team at the beginning of the year. But boy, had the mighty have fallen. But I think Illinois will pick it up. Wisconsin, I don't know what they'll do with themselves, but hopefully they find their way. But congratulations, Illinois. That's all I got to say on this.
Ring those cowbells. The Bulldogs finally got another win. And this one was a shocker for TCU.
Yeah, Mississippi, TCU has had some injuries.
Mhm.
Going into this game. I mean, one of their star players that was in the game got hurt in the middle of it. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna end well with TCU. Those injuries are gonna hurt you. But Mississippi State, congratulations on an upset victory at home. And hopefully you do get in March Madness, but if you don't, at least you tried.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this game. I mean, if Mike Miles doesn't get hurt, TCU wins this game because it went to overtime, and he got hurt in the first 4 minutes of the game. And I'm not taking anything away from Mississippi State's win. I mean, it was a fantastic win. I mean, they grinded it out. They found a way to win in overtime, and this really is going to help them out because, like LSU, Mississippi State was in a free fall in the SEC, and they needed this game to have a shot to get back in the tournament discussion. But the problem for TCU is not even just this game, but you look at them as a whole. If they cannot get healthy, if Mike Miles is out for an extended period of time, TCU could start losing games in a row because I mean he's their offense. He averages 19 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. That's a lot of points that you're losing. And in the rugged Big 12, where every single team is capable of beating you, if they don't get him back, TCU could lose 5 games in a row. And they're suddenly a team that's ranked and, playing great basketball to a team that's on the bubble. And, it really hurts for TCU. They were having a great season. I don't know the extent of Mike Miles' injury. Who knows? He might be back in the next game, but from what I heard, it wasn't great. But neither was Terquavian Smith's fall against North Carolina for NC State, but he was able to come back in the next game. But for Mike Miles, I think it was a knee. That's never good. But they're going to have to get healthy or TCU could really start losing some games. And I hope that's not the case. But really good win for Mississippi State. But I do think TCU would have won if Mike Miles hadn't got hurt. But it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do trust Jamie Dixon just because of what he did. He built up Pitt. Well, I mean, the other guy, Howland, also built up Pitt before he went to UCLA. But what Jamie Dixon's been able to do, get more with less, I do trust him more than most coaches. So I don't think they're going to free fall as much as a program such as Wisconsin has now. But still very troubling for TCU.
Yeah. Losing Mike Miles is a big one, because he, like Jeffrey said, he is the offense, he is the everything, and he needs to get healthy quick because in the Big 12 there is no easy team. As in the ACC, which I'm going to knock myself. When you play Louisville, it's a night off. Love my guys to death, but it is. But congratulations, Mississippi State. Not taking anything away from you. Great win. Hopefully it's a quad one win, and hopefully it's enough to propel you to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Onward to our next game in the Big 12, in the final SEC Big 12 SEC Challenge, Baylor and Arkansas.
Credit
This
to
was a great
Arkansas for showing up. I mean, they could have just shoved it in, like playing at Waco, hostile environment, but they came to play. And even though they lost, Eric Musselman. Like, I was starting to lose a bit of respect for him just because of how bad they've been. But credit to him. I mean, they put in their best effort, even though it wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I thought that Baylor would win by more. Even though like Arkansas had been kind of turning around a little bit after their struggles because they've had injury issues. I mean, again, Trevon Brazile, he's out for the season. That's a tough loss. The Missouri transfer. Nick Smith, he's been in and out of the lineup, and he's going to be a lottery pick. So, I mean, they have a talented team, but again, injuries is part of the sport, and it derails your season a bit. But they've been playing a little bit better, but a lot of people thought maybe Arkansas would pull this one off because they've been playing a bit better. And I thought Baylor would win by more. But, again, all credit to Arkansas. They played really hard in this game and had a shot to win. But to your point, again, it is so tough to win in Waco. But if this game was at Arkansas, they would have won because Arkansas put in the effort. If they played these same type games, they would have won. Yeah, they played really, really hard, but they just fell short. Good win for Baylor. And Baylor's rolling right now. By the way, they're actually on a roll. They didn't roll in this one, but they got the win.
Yeah. A win is a win. So, congrats, Baylor and Arkansas. We wish you nothing but better luck in getting into March Madness.
Yeah, I watched this game, and I remember thinking, I was like, this is the Arkansas team that I expected. And when they play like this, they are a Final Four team. Because when they get in tournament mode, this team could beat anybody you put in front of them. And they gave Baylor everything they had and then some. But like Jeffrey said, Baylor is rolling, and they're looking like the national champs from 2 years ago when they dominated Gonzaga and made Gonzaga look bad. Baylor is coming back. They want their crown back. They told Kansas, thank you for keeping it warm, but we're coming back now. And here they come.
Oh, yeah. Onward to the next. Pittsburgh and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So,
This was the definition of falling apart. Miami had this game. I was like, man, I picked Miami to win on the road. They're going to get it done. You know, Pitt, way better team this year with Jeff Capel, but it seems like their season might be starting to slip a little bit. You know, they're going to fall on the wrong side of the bubble, and then that's all she wrote. You know, they're going to be out of the tournament, but kudos to Pitt. I mean, they were down this game. And, I mean, it hurts for them because John Hughley, one of their better players, he's out for the season. And that hurts. And they're still finding ways to get, you know, wins. This was a huge win. Jermaine Burton is fantastic. He hits big shots, big guard. He, you know, get in the lane. He can hit threes. Miami's a more talented team, but they fell short. And Pitt really needed this win. If they do make the tournament, this was the game that propelled them in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as a VCU fan who Pitt's their best win right now, along with Vandy and Pitt are our two best wins. Definitely happy that Pitt won. Unfortunately, we didn't do our part this week, but yeah, happy for Jeff Capel. He coached at VCU for a few years there, made the tournament, so definitely happy for them and the direction that Pitt's going. He definitely has them going in the right direction. I wasn't sure going into this year because of how bad last year was, but you know, if they can keep bringing in some talent, Pitt can maybe become a Sweet 16 contender at least. in the next couple of years.
Yeah. With VCU and the St. Bonaventure game, if it was the St. Bonaventure of last year, it wouldn't be a bad loss. Everything would be cool. But unfortunately,
Yeah,
all their players left, and as a bad loss, that hurts.
I'll talk about it when the VCU Davidson preview. Man, that was a brutal loss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from A10. But yeah, Miami and Pittsburgh, you're looking pretty good in the bubble watch so far. Pitt, your stock upgraded a little bit. Miami, are you going to be in the top 25 tomorrow? That's the question we'll find out tomorrow.
I want to start by saying this. I ain't going to speak for the rest of us in here, but Miami is confusing this year. They have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. You know, they get all these. They've got some good wins this year, and then this happens. They lose a game like this, and it's kind of like, okay. First you say you're back. Now you're not. Which Miami are we getting week to week? There's a lot of questions with them that they need to fix.
Austin, I think the Miami you're getting is the Miami on the road is awful, but the Miami at home is unbeaten. So we're going to find out a lot when they play Virginia Tech at home Tuesday night.
Hopefully so. Hopefully we see the good Miami because this was not it.
Because they'll be at home, but are we seeing good Miami or bad Miami next Saturday at Clemson is the question.
Yeah, that'll be another big one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think like Miami's, like bad Miami on road, good Miami at home. I mean, Miami's had some decent performances on the road. I mean, they almost beat Duke. I know Duke's not as good, but they almost beat Duke. They played well in that game. And I mean, this game here, I mean, they played well, but they fell apart at the end. I mean, you can't do that, but Pitt's better. I mean, if Miami is going on the road and losing at one of the bottom four teams in the ACC, I mean, when they lost Georgia Tech, I can't remember if that was at home. It must have been on the road. So I mean,
it was on the road.
They've had some bad performances. I mean, I agree, but I just think that it's one of those things where Miami has to get one. They got to get a road win to believe they can get one. You know what I'm saying? A lot of teams do that where it's like we're on the road and we're not getting wins on the road, and then they choke at the end. Miami's just got to get one. So I agree with you. They are a worse team on the road. Most teams are, by the way, judging by this past weekend. A lot of good teams lost on the road by a lot worse than this. So Miami should have won this game, fell apart, but I do think they're a better team at home.
Yeah, at least they didn't play like Bama, so I'll give you that, Jeffrey.
Mm.
Congratulations to Pitt, though. Great win. Hopefully, Miami can at least keep steady so it makes your tournament resume look somewhat good.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Onward our next game.
This was a good one for Rick Barnes. Great night for him.
But it was especially a great night for Dickie V last night. So he had on that little Tennessee cowboy hat on.
Yeah, Texas played reasonably well at times in this game, but they also had moments where they were awful. The final score is 11, but there were moments where they're down more. Tennessee, I mean, it was one of those games where it's like, are they going to get revenge per se? Even though it's not really revenge, but Rick Barnes is going to beat his former team, or is Tennessee going to fall apart like they do a lot of times in big games? Because, I mean, obviously a lot of people are like, well, Tennessee blew the Kentucky game. They should have won that game. But in this game, Tennessee played really well. And you want to talk about Miami being confusing, which I completely agree. Also, Tennessee is a bit confusing. And I'm not even talking about this year. I'm talking about years past. At times, Tennessee, that's why every year you get Tennessee to the Final Four, Tennessee to the national championship game talk. It happens every year because they have the talent. They got great players. Rick Barnes is a quality coach. He's won a lot of games in his career. But for whatever reason, when Tennessee makes the tournament, things go south. and they lose early. It happens almost every single season. So it's like with Tennessee, you've got to find a way to take this performance that you had yesterday, or technically 2 days ago now, since past midnight on the East Coast, and continue to do it every single game. And if you do that, you will advance far in the tournament. You've got to do it every single game. They're inconsistent at times. They find ways to lose games that they should win. They did a really good job in this game, though. Kudos to Rick Barnes for beating his former team, and they played really well. But Tennessee needs consistency if they're going to be make a deep tournament run, a Final Four team.
Yeah, I'm just like Tennessee. I kind of have a feeling they'll probably be number 2 tomorrow. They could have a say in the number 1 spot, but it's like you said, Jeffrey. They're really awesome in the regular season, but March, they're not so good. They're not good enough to make the Final Four. So,
and they should. I mean, they have the players. They should. But for whatever reason, they don't. But we'll see. Maybe they'll do it this year.
yeah. Austin, your take on the Rick Barnes game?
Yeah, Jeffrey mentioned Texas played reasonably good. They played as well as they could, but Tennessee was just the better team that night, and they could shoot. Like, it seemed like Tennessee couldn't miss from anywhere they shot. And like everyone keeps mentioning above me, Tennessee has talent. They're a really talented team. And a lot of people, are going to start to talk soon of, is this the year Tennessee finally gets to the big one? They finally make the Final Four national title run. But it always seems that they lose in the tournament anywhere from the beginning of it to the Sweet 16. Don't know why, may never know why, but congratulations to Tennessee on the win. It's a really good win, and Texas, hopefully they could pick themselves up and not take this hard-2 loss on themselves. Take this loss to beat themselves up over it, because Tennessee's a really good team, and in many people's eyes, the favorite to win the SEC.
Yeah, the Horns better get up because they have a big game coming up this next tomorrow, man. I mean, we'll see who it is soon, but it's a big game.
Oh, this was a big one. Kansas State putting a smackdown on Florida after they were beat up by Iowa State on Tuesday night. They basically laid the smackdown on the Florida Gators. Oh, man, gents, what's your take on this?
Yeah, this game, I thought Kansas State played well. I mean, SmackDown might be a bit of a strong word. They played well. Florida played bad, though. I mean, Florida is not playing good basketball at this time. Todd Golden, his first year, coming over from San Francisco, the Dons. I mean, granted, Florida, it's your first year as a head coach. I mean, you shouldn't expect, to win a lot of games. Like, it should not be Jerome Tang like Kansas State. It doesn't always happen like that. So I'm not, no panic button on Florida, but they're not playing well. They're really struggling this season. They have not really done anything impressive at all this year. And Keontae Johnson, I mean, again, one of the best stories in college basketball, probably the last decade. The fact that he, collapsed on the floor at Florida, and then they wouldn't clear him, and you just didn't know if it was safe for him to play. But he enters the portal, goes to Kansas State, and he's been balling out. But even he didn't really play well. He only had 13 points, and he was inefficient from the floor. He was like 4 15, so he wasn't playing at the level he has been the last few weeks or few games or whatever. So Kansas State, they played well, but Florida did not have a good game. And Kansas State just kind of cruised in this one.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about Florida because like
Mm.
I get it, it's your first year, but I just hope that's not the norm for you, Mr. Golden. That's all I can say. But another great victory by Kansas State and Jerome Tang, man. Congratulations on the wonderful job you did this season, fine sir.
Yeah. As Jeffrey pointed out, Florida didn't play very well. And they were down like 22-8 at one point, 27-8. Kansas State came out, they played with a purpose. And Florida just looked like they didn't want to be there to begin with. And that says a lot about what you are when you start out like that and just don't want to be there to begin with. They showed some heart and pride, but at the end of the day, they just didn't play very well. Florida's not what they used to be, and Kansas State they're finally putting it together, and at the right time. It's still a very good win because they beat an SEC team. So the committee's going to take that in high regard. But either way you look at it, it's still a great win. And congratulations to Kansas State and hopefully, who knows what's ahead for them.
Yeah, I mean Jerome Tang, like just watching a Kansas State game, the atmosphere there is completely different than it's been. Just happy for Kansas State and their fans to finally have some joy again with
Awesome.
football this year and basketball.
Ooh, Virginia Tech, Syracuse. What's going on with Boeheim? I mean, it's kind of like, got some questions about you. I mean, is Syracuse even going to make it to the NCAA tournament this year? It's not looking like they will so far. I mean, they look like a daggum NIT team is what they do. They look like they look. It's time for you to retire, Boeheim. I mean, you had a good run. It's been a beautiful era. But it's time for Jerry McNamara to be the new head coach.
Well, I mean, I think the issue is that you talk about talent. I mean, and granted, you can win in college basketball without as much talent, but Syracuse just doesn't have a lot of great players right now. I mean, he's not, getting the type players that he was a decade ago. Now, whether that's because of the fact he's not recruiting the way he used to, he doesn't have that fire. Players don't want to play, go to Syracuse, or whether it's the current landscape of college basketball, with the portal and NIL. I don't know if that's not helping Syracuse out, but they're just not very talented. They kind of remind me of Wisconsin, with the way they play right now. They just don't have it. They don't have like the consistent take you off the dribble kind of player. It's just you have to play fundamental basketball to win. And Syracuse just doesn't really have those type players. They don't have the fundamental basketball player. They have a bunch of players that are good, but they're not great enough to play poorly and win like a lot of teams are capable of doing. And I'm not saying they play completely poor, but for whatever reason, Syracuse just isn't there. I mean, it's been this way for 5+ years. I mean, you talk about, you talk about Boeheim ready to retire. I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, he's been there a long time. But again, it's been this way for like the last 5 years. Syracuse just has not been a great team, and they've been an NIT team for most of the last 5 years, and it's probably going to be that way again. Now, in Virginia Tech, they were another team that was bit by the injury bug, like Creighton, like Indiana for stretch. I mean, Virginia Tech was not healthy. They had a lot of injuries. Now they're getting healthy. Now they're starting to roll, and if they continue to play like this, they will be a tournament team.
Yeah, it's just they're gonna have to win a lot of their next couple games just because they got in such a hole late with
I
ACC
agree.
play.
I completely agree. But I'm just saying, if they keep playing like this, they
Yeah.
will win enough games to make the tournament. It sucks for them that they fell into the hole because if they didn't have the injuries, they were a good team in the non-conference. They are a good team, but it is what it is.
All right. Yeah, Bill Self doesn't lose 4 straight games, man.
And he most certainly didn't. He ended that losing streak. Question is, will he continue the big wins on Tuesday night against Kansas State? As for Kentucky, got some questions for you in Calipari. That's all I gotta say about this one.
Yeah, this one was a good game. I kept flipping it from Ohio State, Indiana, and kept watching it. Um, I mean, really, this game could have gone either way. I mean, if you take out the last 2.5 minutes of the game, this was essentially a 2-point game, a tie game ish. Both teams were just playing. Kentucky at times throughout the game fell behind and Rupp got quiet. I mean, it was a stretch like early in the second half, like Kansas pulling away, but then Kentucky fought back, and it was essentially like a tie game throughout, or a 2-point Kansas lead ish for the rest of the game. And Rupp Arena was on fire. But then Jalen Wilson got on a roll. And for whatever reason, the last 2 minutes of the game, Kentucky's shot selection was horrible. I mean, I don't even know what they were doing. Like, that is a moment where for whatever reason, you have to, as a coach like Calipari, you sell the team down somehow if that's the case, or not even him. It's like the players have to communicate on the floor and say, hey, we got to calm down. We're in this game. We can beat Kansas. Home crowd's on our side, and take good shots. But for whatever reason, they just collapsed last 2 minutes of the game. It was a 2-point game with 2:30 to go. And then they just fell apart. Couldn't hit any shots. They were chunking up threes, taking terrible floaters and all this kind of stuff. All you have to do is do what you did before, what got you in the game. Feed Sheboy, and if it's not there, kick out for 3. So it's not very difficult. And if the 3's not there, shot fake drop. I mean, Kentucky can or could have won this game. They can play. They have the talent like they do almost every year. Maybe they're not as talented this year, but they can be a really good team. But they blew the last 2 minutes of the game. Unfortunately for that, I still think Kentucky's going to be a tournament team. They're playing better. I think they're going to get enough wins in SEC play to make the tournament, but they actually should have won this game. But unfortunately for them, they played horrible in the last 2 minutes, and Kansas was able to not get the first 4-game losing streak in Bill Self's tenure at Kansas. And Jalen Wilson is clutch. That's all you can say.
Austin, you must have enjoyed this one for sure.
Yeah, I always enjoy Kentucky losing. But I will say, everyone calm down. Kansas won. It's okay, everybody. Chill. Calm down up there, Jeffrey. It's all right. Kansas will be good. Humor, sorry. Because people like to think Kansas, they lost their 3 games, and people are like, Kansas is finally going to lose it. Bill Self has lost his touch. Here they go. And it's like, I mentioned this with Jeffrey earlier in the Discord. It's kind of like, calm down, people. Kansas does this. They will be fine. Once we get closer to March, they will turn it on. And this is the step towards that. They played a really good game against Kentucky. Like Jeffrey said, this was a really good game. But Kentucky with the awful shot selection there at the end. This is not the teams of the past, either of Calipari's. Because, man, got me a little lost for words. Because it's like, I'm not used to Kentucky like this. Normally Kentucky's taking the good shots and it's hard to beat them. But now they're taking the bad shots, and it seems like like they look more beatable than normal. But the point is Kansas that they were fine. They just went through their 3-game slump. They finally got it back together. The national champs are going to look good again, and they're going to look dangerous for tournament time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good win by Kansas. None of this actually matters because not even in the tournaments yet. That's when stuff really matters. Kansas and Kentucky are going to get enough wins, even though Kentucky deserves to not even make the NIT this year. Calipari, you need to leave Kentucky. Just retire. You're too old. Just retire. So, I mean, Kansas is just everybody just calm. In fact, you know what? Take your worries, Kansas Warriors, and shove them because it's stupid to worry because Kansas is going to make the tournament. And to Jackson's point, they're probably going to end up playing Houston and get mopped off the floor by Houston in the Final Four. So, yeah, don't worry. Kentucky, just go away forever. You won enough titles, and Calipari, go away. Yep.
Onward to our next bowl slide. Oh man, how
Next,
about
please.
how about
Next,
your boys,
please.
your boys in Indiana, Jeffrey? Let's get at it.
Yeah. I mean, Gus Johnson says it best. The Carnegie Hall of college basketball. Assembly Hall, when Indiana is not horrible, is electric. I mean, it is a top 5 atmosphere in college basketball. I mean, anybody that thinks otherwise, this is from an unbiased perspective. I mean, it is a top 5 atmosphere.
Yep.
That place was on
even when they
fire.
are bad.
I mean, even when they're bad, I mean, it's good. But like, literally, to Gus Johnson's point again, he literally said his words: "IU basketball, that look, that feel, it's back. It feels like it's the '80s again for IU basketball fans. I know that obviously they're not that good like then, and maybe they never will be. But they're playing better basketball right now. This is their first 5-game win streak in the Big Ten since the Tom Crean era, 2015-16 season with Yogi Ferrell. So that's huge for them. And I mean, that place was loud. Jalen Hood-Schifino kept them afloat early because they couldn't get anything going. And I mean, he only had 8 points total in their last 2 games. And he had 24 points in this game. He's a fantastic player. I think he's been going through a couple of injuries. He kind of had, a wrist injury. He had a hard fall in the Illinois game. So he's been dealing with that, and he's had some back issues. But he came to life in this game, and he had a stomach illness as well. So, I mean, he battled through all that, shot the ball well, 6 of 9 from 3. Trace Jackson Davis didn't even have one of his best performances. I mean, he had 18 and 10. And that's pedestrian for him. So that's always a good sign when you have a pedestrian effort like that, and it's still really good. And he had 6 blocks. Malik Renaud had his best game in an Indiana uniform. He had 15 points, 8 boards. Tied his career high from the first game of the season against Morehead State. Ohio State, I mean, they needed this game. They needed a win. They're on the cusp of not even having a shot to make the tournament right now. They're 11 and 10. That game against Wisconsin that we will be talking about when we preview the games is huge. But if Indiana keeps playing like this, and if they can get Xavier Johnson back really soon, Indiana could potentially do some things come tournament time. They're playing good right now, but they're going to have to keep playing at a high level and not slip up.
Jackson, what did you think of this?
Oh, me? Well, Indiana's looking like a top 25 team tomorrow. If they're not, well, the poll watchers are clearly not watching. They didn't watch this game. They were more focused on Kansas, Kentucky than they were on Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should be right.
OSU?
Oh man.
Yeah, man. I mean, Indiana's just rolling right now, and I don't know, man. I'm just excited for the next Indiana Purdue matchup. Whenever that's coming out, my eyes are gonna be glued on that game.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a Saturday.
Ooh, Austin, do you agree?
Yeah, I echo just about everything you guys have said on this. You know, I didn't get to see this game. You know, Indiana, they're finally getting healthy at the right time, like a lot of teams are, because we're getting close to March. It's getting close to that time where the committee's starting to really, really like look at you, and Indiana's trying to make a statement. And and they're in the packed Big Ten. They're trying to get healthy and they're trying to show that they're up there with the big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I turned this off before halftime because guess who was right again? Your savior is here. um, this Ohio State team just sucks. This whole sucking at basketball thing is going around for Ohio State. I don't even like this program. It's good for Indiana to finally show that they have dependency performance wise from more than just TJD.
Mm-hmm.
And balled out. And, well, I wouldn't say balled out to Jeffrey's point, but he did score a double-double. So
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
JHS balled out. And the other thing, too, was it was on the road. I suspected this would happen. Yeah, good win from Indiana. And to Jackson's point, dude, they should have been ranked going into this week. I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. It could have been ranked like 24th because right now, I'm telling you, Indiana, the way they've been playing, the streak that they're going on, they're going to win like 6 in a row. They're going to beat Purdue and Maryland this week. And coming into the Maryland game, they should be like number 18 at the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this team is overall really good. They're proven they can win. I mean, not for nothing. They beat Wisconsin. They snatched the souls out of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And oof,
I'd hate to be Purdue going up against Indiana next week. Oof.
oh yeah. I mean, to be realistic, if Indiana does lose, I don't see them losing that game. But if Indiana does lose that game, it's going to be by like a basket.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But man, just keep getting healthy, keep playing the way they're playing, perform the way they perform, and yeah, great win by Indiana. Everyone saw it coming. This is not a surprise to anyone. Yeah, see, Jeffrey, your theory doesn't work when you play a crappy, cruddy, junky team like Ohio State. Because I mean, it's an obvious win.
Mm-hmm. I will say one thing about Ohio State. All that praise about IU was really cool. Thanks. I mean, I'm more happy for the actual, Indiana fans in the state of Indiana that have been going through torture for the last 2 decades. But I will say the one thing about Ohio State, I think the biggest issue is I mean, they're not a homegrown built team, and obviously transfers can work. They can in this era. I mean, we've seen teams do it where they just get transfers and they turn around. But you have a lot of players that are from the portal and they're not meshing together. I mean, Justice Suing, he missed the whole season last year. He used to California transfer. He is not finding his way. Isaac Likely from Oklahoma State. He's a decent player, but he had scoring issues there. He's come over. It just isn't meshing together. Sean McNeil, the West Virginia transfer, it's just not meshing. All of them. It's not a team that is built on, oh, these guys have been in the program for 3-4 years. It's a bunch of transfer. That was the issue with Illinois. People were like, what are they going to do with all the transfer? Matthew Meyer, Dane Danger, Terrence Shannon. How are they going to mesh it together? They're kind of doing it. Plus, I think the players they got in the portal are way more talented, obviously, than Ohio State got. But Ohio State has a bunch of transfers. It's just not meshing. And then they have a star in Bryce Sensabaugh, and that's it. That's it. If the transfers would mesh together, they could be good, but they're not.
Well, I mean, to your point too, it's like, Zed Key is a big example. I mean, the dude is really good. He can play down low, and he just doesn't ball out, and he doesn't perform the way he should. I mean,
and he's been injured too.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with Holtman. I think it's more, to your point, it's more about the talent than it is the coach.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
All right. Yeah. The Big 12 just owned the SEC in the challenge this year, man. Like, I thought there would be more competitive games, but this one again, Big 12 just showing that it's better this year.
Oh, yeah. All I can say about this game is, congratulations to the Big 12 on winning the final Big 12 SEC challenge. It's a shame that this year was the last one, but congratulations to the Big 12 and congratulations to Oklahoma State on this fine victory. And Kermit Davis, you got to get out of that hot seat there, good buddy. Got to get out of that hot seat.
Yeah, this game, I mean, Oklahoma State's clearly a team. Obviously, basically the whole entire Big 12, even Texas Tech, is got good players, and they have the capability of beating, almost any team in America if they have a really good night. And Oklahoma State, again, is a Big 12 team, so they're in that category. They're solid. I mean, as long as they can get enough wins, they're a tournament team. Ole Miss, on the other hand, they're not good. I mean, they have a big game coming up against Kentucky at home. I mean, obviously, even if you win that game, it's not really going to save your season per se, but I mean, it would at least, maybe get some good vibes going back in Oxford. But, yeah, Kermit Davis, I mean, it's at the point where I don't think he's going to get off the hot seat. The only way he's going to get off the hot seat is if he's forced off. I don't think he's going to make it. I like Kermit Davis fine. I think that, he tries, but for whatever reason, he just has not been able to get things going with Ole Miss. And, yeah, his time should be about out.
Yeah, unfortunately, pretty much. Hey, Connor Johnson, how's it going? Oregon State with the two-game win streak.
How about those bees?
Woo! I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's talking. Awkward silence. Oh, baby was born. Ole Miss sucks. And Oklahoma State.
You can say that, Buck, on Mike. I'm not gonna defend that one.
And Oklahoma State just overpowered them, and I think Ole Miss doesn't care about the basketball program. This one. And then SEC. What in the world? Overall, as a conference, I mean,
yeah, you beat each other up the rest of the year, but come on. I mean, the Big Ten was the same way because they almost. I feel like ACC always won the ACC Big Ten. I mean, I know Big Ten won it some too, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just, oh my gosh. Show up, show out. Yes. Yes. Exactly. That is proven. And especially when Kentucky has a down year. And the thing is, Kentucky's gonna, well, no, never mind. Because Calipari wasn't, or whatever.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
well.
I guess we have nothing to say about this one. But we start off the new week with the Virginia Cavaliers, who are in second place in the ACC as they go onto the road against Syracuse. Can Syracuse get a big win in their bubble watch to stay in the bubble, so to speak? Or is it a Virginia victory?
Yeah, this one's a interesting game because it's like you feel Syracuse. A lot of these teams that have been on the outside looking in or right on the bubble have won big games in the last couple days. And Syracuse needs this game. I mean, you lose this game, you're not completely out of the tournament. Possibility of making it. It's not completely out of the water. I mean, you're not going to automatically be, oh, you have no shot. You'd have to completely win out. No, it's not maybe at that point yet, but you got to win this game. I think Syracuse is going to play desperate, and I think Syracuse is going to give it everything they got. But to me, the North Carolina game last week was another game that should have been the same, and North Carolina won. So I'm going to go with Virginia to beat Syracuse 70-65.
Yeah, I mean,
Short.
this is
You're going with
of,
Virginia?
Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These games between Virginia and Syracuse, man, with Jim Boeheim's zone and Tony Bennett's pack defense, they're usually pretty low scoring. But Virginia definitely has the talent advantage in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go for the Virginia 55-50 victory.
I'm going to go Virginia 65-51.
Yeah, this game here is really interesting, like Jeffrey said. Syracuse, they reek of desperation. They're back home. They're in their dome. They need this game. They're going to play like their life depends on it. But Virginia can flat out smother you on defense. They've always been able to do that. No matter how good or bad they were at shooting, they've always been able to play a heck of defense. I think this is really close. I think this will be really close. But I'm going Virginia 62-57. I think Virginia makes a couple defensive plays, turns Syracuse over, and that's enough to pull away at the end. I'm going Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna make me the oddball out.
You
Well-
got the orange, don't you?
Nothing, gentlemen, nothing is more dangerous than a desperate cat. Or in this case, a desperate orange. Suddenly, which is weird. Virginia's going to be tough. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go Syracuse 60-58.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a good game.
Oh yeah, the Baylor Bear necessities against the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah. This game. Oof. Oof. Yeah. I mean, this is one of those ones where it's like you got Texas. I mean, they're coming off a loss to Tennessee. I mean, they don't necessarily need a win. They're not like desperate or anything to make the tournament at this point. But they could use a win. Baylor is on a roll. I mean,
Well,
they
yeah,
played
they got the number
well
two
last few
offense in college basketball, so
games.
that helps plenty.
They've been playing really well the last few games. So I mean, judging by that, you would think that Baylor has us in the bag, but it's at Texas. It's gonna be tough. I mean, I don't know. Baylor's been playing really well. I'll take Texas 72-70 over Baylor.
You got those Longhorns, huh?
I'll take Texas. I don't know though, but I'll take Texas.
I'll go Baylor 78-70. I think they'll pull away.
I'm going Baylor 72-61 over Texas. Austin, your pick.
I think Baylor keeps it rolling. I'm sorry, but I think Texas that they've lost their magic. You know, their ability. They won a lot of close games, but I think Baylor's just too much. And Baylor's going to show why they are national champion contenders. I got Baylor 81, Texas 62.
So I heard that both teams want to cancel this game because they both. Baylor stands a better chance than Texas. Even though I don't want to pick either one because I'm going to lose all way. Give me the bare necessities 61-55.
So you guys all pick Baylor.
Except for Jeffrey.
I mean, I don't trust Texas as far as I can throw them, but it's at home, and winning streaks got to end eventually. So we'll see if Baylor can continue the winning streak.
There we go. Onward
Jeffrey
to
took
the
one for
next
the team.
one. Onward to the next one.
Oh boy, this will be interesting.
Well, I mean, you think about it, like the home team, it's Miami. They don't lose at home, right? I mean, they're 11-0. I think that's what Jackson said. But Virginia Tech, they're playing better. They're getting healthy. Last year they came around this time and found a way to make the tournament. But man, at Miami, ugh. I think Virginia Tech's playing a lot better, but I think Miami at home is going to be a little too much. I'll take Miami 73-72.
I don't know, man. I'm not trusting Miami right now, Jeffrey. I'm going to have to go with Virginia Tech 80-76.
Well, the way I'm looking at it, Miami's at home. They're gonna win 74-69.
Yeah, Virginia Tech, they're on a roll. Okay, not on a roll. They're playing better. Let me fix that. They're playing better, but Miami is at home. I don't know. This one's hard, but I'm gonna pick Miami. I'm not confident in that either.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pick Miami 70.
For me,
I'm gonna pick Miami 78-73.
So the only reason we're picking this game is because the Virginia Tech Duke game went to everyone's head. That's obvious. Um, I mean, it is. This game's not worth it.
Uh,
Give me Virginia Tech.
so
I'm gonna.
wait, whoa. You just said you were picking this game because the Virginia Tech went over Duke went to everyone's head, but yet you're picking Virginia Tech.
Well, hold on, because here's the list. Give me Virginia Tech to win 48-46.
So you think Miami's gonna score 46 points at home?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, they'll probably. I mean, they could have almost 46 at half, but okay. All right.
I don't care. This is my point. I don't care because this game is not worth it. It's a waste of time.
Fuck, I'm like, you're hilarious, man.
I don't care. My record's far and gone in this Pickem anyway.
Oh man, this is gonna be a good one. Iowa State at Texas Tech.
Yeah, this game. I mean, you look at both these teams here. I mean, Iowa State, you just got a bad loss per se, to a lot of people at Missouri, but Missouri is really good. So I mean, it's not a bad loss. I mean, the way they lost was kind of tough. I completely agree with you, Connor Johnson. By the way, basketball is really tough to pick. It is hard. But
I
Iowa
think
State,
Jeffrey will have a winning record, but I'll check again.
But Iowa State, I mean, they need to bounce back. I mean, tough loss at Missouri, and Iowa State, kind of like Miami, they struggle on the road. They're a lot better at home. Texas Tech has not won a Big 12 game. And if they're going to make the tournament, they have to win this game. I mean, I know that they're like on the fringes of the tournament. But, I mean, you get a win or two in the Big 12, and suddenly you're back in it for Texas Tech. But with that being said, I don't know. Man, this is tough. Iowa State, not good on the road. Texas Tech hasn't won a Big 12 game. Are they going to get one? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't like doing it, but I want you guys to pick first. I can't think on this one.
I'll go Iowa State 75-74, but it's tough.
Oh, I'm going Iowa State 73-68.
Mm.
You know what? I have a funny feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Texas Tech 69-66. I'm going Red Raiders.
Buckeye Mike.
Yeah, as much as I talked about the last one, there's something weird with this one. Like, causing a literal tingle in the back of my brain on this one. It just feels funny. Give me Texas Tech 69-68.
So I mean, I thought I was having a wild hair, thinking about possibly picking Texas Tech, but you two picked Texas Tech. So now it's like I don't have that pressure being the only one picking Texas Tech. So, I don't know.
Yep, we've had this discussion.
I mean, this could go either way. I mean, I'm literally like I'm torn on this one. I mean, I want to pick Iowa State because it's like they're a better team, but it's like something tells me Tech's gonna win. But I'll just tell you. I'll take Texas Tech 71-70 over Iowa State.
Onward to the next one.
Okay.
Texas A&M and Arkansas.
Yeah, this one, A&M. Okay, that's a figure of speech. Thanks, Edward. But Texas A&M, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, they've been playing better as late, especially after the Kentucky loss. Arkansas, they've been playing better as well. They play well against Baylor. It's at home. I'll take Arkansas to beat Texas A&M 69-62.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas has been playing better, but I think Texas Tech, they're hot. They've been winning games. I think Texas. I'll go Aggies, 82-75.
You got the Aggies, Will? Well, same here. I'm going Texas A&M, but it's going to be a 72-67 victory. Austin, your pick.
Woo, pick suey. I'm going Razorbacks 63, A&M 60. Pig suey.
Pig suey, baby. Arkansas 65, A&M 45.
Connor said LeBron's temper tantrum was hilarious. Yeah, after the foul.
It was rightfully so. I want to point out.
I mean, it was a foul. But that was funny, man. That was funny. he lost his mind, dude.
I was waiting to see if he was going to walk off the court, but he didn't.
Patrick Beverly showing the camera.
Yeah, that was the more funny part than his temper
I mean, it
tantrum.
was like, man, I don't know, man. I just that whole sequence had me cracking up before I went to bed, man. Oh man.
Yeah, he was mad.
Oh, well, okay, Connor, that's a problem because if it is a foul, it does matter. He made a giant baby, but they all do it, so they're all giant babies. Freaking Tatum is a baby. Steph is a baby. Steph threw his freaking mouthpiece into the crowd. You telling me LeBron's a bigger baby than Steph Curry?
That's so funny. Disgusting, but funny.
Yeah. All right.
But there are some people that would definitely sell that stuff on eBay for sure.
Yeah, and there's be someone crazy enough to buy it.
Okay.
What's our next game, Will? What's our next game?
I think it's an Atlantic 10 game.
Oh God, nope. Next game. Nope. Absolutely not.
We can't roll the films just yet. We got to get through the Rams, man.
No, not worth it.
I mean,
Jeffrey, give us your take on this game.
VCU, tough loss to the Bonnies. I mean, they don't have, all the players they had last year. Should have beat them. But it's tough to win every game, And I mean, when you're in a conference where there's not really any, quality wins really anywhere, I mean, that hurts a team like VCU. You need like 3 or 4 other teams in the league to be tournament quality teams so you can afford a loss like this and then make up for it. Unfortunately for VCU, that's not the case this year. There's not really going to be a game that they can make up for this loss. I mean, they can win out. They'll make the tournament if they won out, but still, I mean, VCU is kind of in a hole right now. But Davidson, not the same team they were last year. The head coach retired. They got the son in charge now. Things just aren't the same. They don't have that shooter, as Will said, that it was there last year. As a whole, I mean, Davidson just does not and really impress me. If Virginia Commonwealth's going to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large, you lose this game, it's about over. So I'm gonna bet, not money, but my pick that VCU will win this game to stay in the at-large race. Give me Rams 70-69.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was at the same. I mean, I've been to most VCU home games this year. I was at the Bonaventure game. It was another quad 4 loss at home. We had one already. We couldn't shoot the 3, man. Like, we've been shooting like around 40% from 3 since we got hot. We were at 13%. It was brutal. We couldn't hit a 3. We also kept missing front ends of 1-on-1s. We should have put that game away, but we couldn't, and the Bonnies weren't the whole way. And it sucked, man, because the crowd was great the whole game. I mean, when we're playing well, like it's one of the tough. The Siegel Center can be one of the toughest places to play, but credit to the Bonnies, man. I mean, they ended up winning, but it was really tough. But Davidson scares me because of how well they played against St. Louis on Friday at home. They had a bit of an atmosphere at Belk, but I think we'll win this one. It won't be easy, but I think we'll win this one 75-70.
VCU will win 74-68 against Davidson. Austin, your pick.
I don't know much about the A10. I've seen some of them. I saw the VCU game. Boy, they did not look good. They did not look like a tournament team like people were saying they are. But Davidson also isn't playing well either. So this is an important game for both sides. I'm going to go out on a limb and say VCU bounces back. I say they win it 71-70. They win it on a tip-in. VCU.
Who did you go with, Jeffrey?
VCU.
Davidson's going to win 80-40. VCU overall just sucks. And they're letting the life get sucked out of them. Huh?
That was a predictable pick from you.
What you mean, boy?
You know you're going to pick against any team that has the support of Will.
It's nothing against Will per se, but just really, you call that crappy performance really good? No. Yeah. VCU is going to get their soul snatched.
All right, so on from the A10 to the Big 12.
So, Buckeye Mike, you got Davidson?
Yep.
I think.
80-40.
Oh, we got a big matchup. The second matchup of the Sunflower Showdown at Kansas between the Kansas Jayhawks and the Kansas State Wildcats.
This is interesting because, I mean, there's a lot of different angles you could take here. For one, you could use the argument, well, K-State beat them once, they can beat them again. You also have the argument, well, it's at home for Kansas. They don't usually lose at home. But then you also have, well, a purple team went into Kansas and beat them soundly in TCU by 23. So maybe another purple team can beat them on their own floor. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to pick against Kansas at home, though. I mean, it really is. But I feel K-State can do it. I do. But I will take Kansas 80-79 because they usually find a way to win. And that was one game that they had against TCU. But I definitely could see K-State winning this one. But I'll take Kansas 80-79.
Yeah, this one will be tight. But I'll go Jayhawks 82-81.
I'm gonna go Kansas 79-77.
I think Kansas gets rolling. They're going to get hot again. I think this is a statement win. I'm going Jayhawks 84, Kansas State 59. I think this is a statement win.
Kansas proves to be choke artists and proves that they can't beat teams in purple. Kansas State 75. I'm sure they can figure out that with me. Kansas State 75, Kansas 60. Slip up and yeah, not good.
Onward to the next one.
Why do you do this?
Yeah, this is a fairly solid Big 12 game. Why? Because at first glance, you would think that TCU would easily win this one, but with Mike Miles getting hurt, I mean, that's a bad loss for TCU. And obviously, we don't know if he's going to be able to play or not. Obviously, it just, according to this, it said that he has a positive update on his injury, so his knee is it's not severe. So it's not a season-ending injury. But it does look like he's probably not going to be available for this game. So that's really going to hurt the Horned Frog. I mean, that's 19 points out the door in this game if you don't play, which it looks like he will not. So West Virginia, you just got a big win. They're kind of on a roll, won a couple games. I mean, I think they can win at TCU without Mike Miles, but I think TCU kind of, I think your point, Will, you trust Jamie Dixon. I think they'll pull it out. I would pick them to win by more if Mike Miles is playing, but I think they'll win 65-64.
Yeah, I was thinking the similar wavelength as you are. I mean, I just think that Jamie Dixon will. I mean, Bob Huggins is a great coach too, but I've just really been impressed with what Jamie Dixon's done with TCU, making them a tournament team, and I think they'll end up winning 82-80. Jackson?
I'm going to go TCU, and it's going to be a 74-61 victory. Who did you pick, Will?
I also picked TCU.
And Jeffrey went TCU too?
Mm.
What about you, Austin? You going TCU too?
Not so fast, my friend. I'm going West Virginia. I think the Mountaineers get it done on the road. I think Bob Huggins is they got this big momentum boost against Auburn. I think they roll into TCU and they get it done 76-70. West Virginia wins.
Sorry, Austin. The group's right. TCU. Teams just struggle against teams in purple, man. And yeah, West Virginia is going to prove it was a one-time thing beating Auburn. TCU is going to take them behind the barn shed and smack them across the face. 80-50.
You got West Virginia, Buckeye Mike?
TCU.
Oh, TCU. Well, I better change my rules. What I wrote.
That's all cool. I'll play the Jeffrey role this week.
All right, then. Onward to our next one.
I already got one of those games, man. I picked Texas, so.
Yeah. I got a feeling you're going to do that same formula that's been working for Indiana there, Jeffrey. Or are you changing things up a little?
Well, Indiana, you're gonna be ranked, which more than likely. So that's not usually a good sign when they get ranked. They usually lose. I mean, they won 5 in a row, first time since the Tom Crean era. I mean, I think that Trace Jackson Davis should have a better game in this one. I mean, Maryland. I mean, they have a front court, but it's not like deep or they don't have like a super tall guy. So I think that'll help him out. I think that it's going to be tough for Indiana shooting to carry over on the road. They do struggle to shoot the ball on the road more. And it could be a possible look ahead to the Purdue game. I think Indiana overall is the better team than Maryland, but see if it works again. I'll take Maryland to beat Indiana 65-64, and we'll see what happens again.
I'll also pick Maryland to beat Indiana. I feel like Maryland's finally starting to get that atmosphere back that they had when they were in the ACC. They haven't dropped a conference game at home this season, and I think they'll continue. So I'm going Terps 85-83.
You going with Maryland, the both of you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna go with Indiana, and it's gonna be a 72-59 victory.
This is gonna be a good game.
And by the way, I know that. Sorry to stop you all, but I know this. The college basketball scheduling is done at the beginning of the season, but it does go to show how ridiculous sometimes that college basketball scheduling is at the beginning of the season. This game's on ESPN2, and Kentucky Ole Miss is on ESPN. Know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. It's the beginning of the season. You schedule the games, but I think that this game should be on ESPN.
But yeah, think this is gonna be close. Indiana's finally getting fully healthy again, but the Terps are getting hot at the right time themselves. I'm gonna go Maryland 61-59. They went on a layup.
Gotta do what you gotta do, Mike. I'm gonna go with the obvious one here, because don't fix what ain't broke. Give me the Hoosiers 69-63.
There we go. On to our next game.
We're going Mountain West this week.
Oh,
my
Back by Jackson. Jackson's wanted to talk some Mountain West, so we had some Mountain West.
there we go.
I think I mentioned it as well, man. Mountain West has some really good teams at the top. I mean, yeah, this one's actually really tough because I mean Nevada at home is really good. I mean Steve Alford, they had a bad season last year, but I mean they're playing better basketball right now. They did suffer a tough loss at UNLV. And that was I mean UNLV they're getting healthy as well. So they had some injuries. So I mean, and it was at UNLV, so not a bad loss per se for Nevada, but at home Nevada's 10-0, and I mean, have a really good record overall in the Mountain West. San Diego State, they've actually been a good road team. They're undefeated on the road. This game could go either way. It's going to be a good atmosphere in Reno. I'll take the home team. I'll take Nevada 70-69 over San Diego State.
I saw that Nevada-New Mexico game. And after watching that game, I can never pick against Nevada at home, man. That was an insane game. So I'm going to go lower. I'm going to go Pack 75-74.
Going Gonna go with Nevada.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with San Diego State in a 73-70 victory on the road.
Mhm.
I'm going Nevada.
Yeah,
81.
Nevada and Nevada. Okay, whatever. Okay. Okay. It's flip flop, man. It's the same thing. Sorry, Austin.
Anywho, I'm going Nevada 81-68 at home.
I like Nevada better,
Mhm.
but I think it's Nevada, but I like Nevada better. Nevada's better. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you pronounce it, really.
Yeah, I've heard Nevada so much online that sometimes every now and then I say it, but like Nevada is how I always say it. So it's like I'll just try to stick with Nevada, even though I'm gonna keep hearing Nevada.
Well, I mean, what do they have in Nevada that they don't have in San Diego? Give me the wolf pack. 81-79.
Ooh, talk about being the lone wolf. There we go.
Lone wolf.
Yeah, because I got San Diego State. Seems like.
He said he's the
Oh,
lone
you're talking about
wolf, even
you.
though he picked against the wolf.
Yeah.
You're not going to have Steve Alford, man. Yeah, okay, yeah, I
It's
completely
Caribbean.
agree. I mean, for one thing,
I thought it was
Louisville.
Caribbean.
It's not
It's
Louisville.
Caribbean.
It's Louisville, and then it's Caribbean for me. I like Caribbean better. I
Oh,
know
my
it might
whole
be
life- my
Caribbean,
whole
but I like
life-
Caribbean.
My whole life I've been saying Pirates of the Caribbean.
Caribbean. I like Caribbean better, man. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Oh, either way,
Caribbean.
I was like, I didn't know there were other ways to say it. That's so cool.
Nevada, Louisville, Caribbean.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't
Missouri, Missouri.
Mhm.
because see that's the problem. A lot of people don't even try because a lot of people say they instead of Louisville or Louisville, they just say the Ville or what was it? Yeah, the zoo
Yeah,
from the zoo.
okay. I like
Or Mizzou.
Appalachian better, and everyone says Appalachian. It's like whatever, Appalachian, man.
I've
Appalachian.
always said
Appalachian.
Appalachian.
Hey, see that's the
Appalachian
funny
State.
thing. See, that's the funny thing. These are good video discussions, arguments because they'll get views.
I can't wait to hear Buckeye Mike's take on this game. This ought to be interesting.
All right. So I'll
Where's my
take
barf
grammar
bag?
talk. I'll. This one's interesting because Xavier slump. I mean, you lost at DePaul, you lost at Creighton, but you lost on the road. The same thing. Xavier at home is fantastic, and Providence barely won at Villanova today or yesterday. So, and granted, Justin Moore just returned for Villanova. He only had 5 points though, so he's clearly not back to. He's not back to where he needs to be or where he, was before the injury. So Villanova's not there yet, but Providence not as good on the road. I'm taking Xavier to beat Providence 80-72.
Mm.
You like that Providence there, Jeffy?
I took Xavier
Oh, you did? Whatever.
80-72. You're good. I took Xavier.
Yeah, I mean, I think Xavier's at home. They've been really good this year.
Cintas Center.
I like Providence at home if it was at home, but I'm going Xavier at home. 87-84.
Oh, I got Xavier winning against Providence 80-71.
Mm-hmm.
I got Xavier too. They bounce back. Xavier 75, Providence 66. Xavier bounces back at home.
Who did you take, Jeffrey?
Xavier.
And who did you take, Will?
Xavier.
Really, guys?
What?
Really gonna make me do this?
Make you do what?
You don't have to do anything.
Well, to Jeffrey's point, Nova is having their ups and downs. Or whatever it was you said about Nova. I zoned out. Xavier just sucks butt right now.
Yeah, on the road.
I'm gonna go the Friars. Providence to win the game 75-60.
You're going to go with the Providence Friar Tucks, huh?
Yep.
There you go. Go with old Friar Tuck.
All right.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I know Connor Johnson. I don't drink soda or pop or Coke or Pepsi. I don't drink carbonated beverages. I just don't.
Oh, yeah. We got ourselves a good one with the Tennessee Volunteers, who could be number 2, later in the day in the rankings. And they go up against the Florida Gators.
This game is like Florida's last shot. You know what I'm saying? Like Florida, you gotta win. It's their last stand. Can Florida get the win? I don't trust Tennessee. I just don't. For me, they're really good, but they have games where they just completely collapse. And granted, it's more often in the tournament in the regular season. But I mean, I could see Florida winning this game. But Florida's been not great this season. So I don't know, man. I'll take Tennessee to beat Florida 59-58.
I could definitely regret this. But I'm going to pick Florida. I think they'll pull it off. I'm going Florida 75-72.
Florida's
Oh my
last
God.
stand, man. It's Florida's last stand.
Yeah. I'm going to go Tennessee 80-64. Austin, your pick.
Yeah, I agree with Jeffrey. This is Florida's last stand. If they have any hope other than making a run through the SEC tournament bracket, they got to win this game. It's in the swamp. This has potential to be upset alert, Tennessee letdown game. But I'm going to trust Rick Barnes to get the guys together and let them and he's going to make sure that they don't have this letdown game. I'm going Tennessee, but it's close. 78-77. Tennessee escapes the swamp.
So to Jeffrey's point, it's not really a last stand when they can't even stand up straight. It's more like the last crawl
Oh man.
before Tennessee freaking takes the butt of the you-know-what, bashes the back of their head open. Tennessee wins this game 80-35.
All right, I definitely can see that. It's going to be really tough for Florida, but they really need to get a win. Our next game here, you've got Pittsburgh at North Carolina. So, I mean, you look at Pitt. They just got a big win over Miami, but it was at home, North Carolina. They've had some ups and downs. But they've been playing better basketball as of late. It's at home. I mean, Dean Smith Center's better when it's, a ranked team or Duke in the building, but it should be, a reasonably great crowd. I think UNC will beat Pitt 75-70. They'll get it done.
Got NC?
UNC. They should
Yep.
win.
Will, your pick.
Yeah, Will be back.
All right.
Will, you're back, Will?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Who you got in North Carolina, Pittsburgh?
Pitt did look good, but they're at home, and the Oakland Zoo helps them a lot.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna lean Carolina 80-74.
I'm gonna go North Carolina 75-65. Austin, your pick.
North Carolina 81-63. Carolina dominates at home. Makes a
Buckeye,
statement.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do you think I flashed it?
Yeah.
There's a reason I didn't leave it up there.
Uh,
This is another waste of time, Will. Come on, you got to pick these better.
it's Carolina. I mean,
Obviously, I'm walking through the tar, man. Let's go. 81-60, Carolina, or Kakalaki, I should say. North Kakalaki. 81-60. Let's go.
Oh man, we're all going to NC. There we go. Then we got another good one between New Mexico and Utah State.
yeah, this one is yeah, okay. Yeah. This game, you got New Mexico. It's going to be really interesting to see if they're still ranked. I mean, they were 25th this past week. They did lose a tough game on the road at Nevada. I mean, you can make an argument they still should be ranked. And I would not disagree, but it's going to be interesting. They'll probably be on the outside looking in on the top 25, but they could be ranked. You never know. But Utah State, solid team. Really solid team. New Mexico, they're really good, but they've slipped up a couple times on the road. I'll take Utah State to beat New Mexico 80-79.
You got New Mexico for the win?
I took Utah State.
Oh,
80-79.
I'm gonna go New Mexico. I mean, I felt like they won't make the same mistake that they did against Nevada. So I'm gonna go New Mexico 84-78.
I'm going to go New Mexico 74-69. Austin, your pick.
I'm going New Mexico State 73-61. New Mexico State wins.
New Mexico wins, huh? Buckeye Mike, your pick.
Man, more stuff not worth our time. Come on.
This is a good game, man. Mount West has really good games this year. If you haven't watched them, which you probably haven't or couldn't, which I understand, you're missing out. Great games.
All right. I'll go Utah State 75-69.
And finally, we have the Ohio State going up against the Wisconsin. Jeffrey, your pick.
I'm just going to say Ohio
This
State
is
55-54 over Wisconsin.
the struggle bus game.
I'm going Ohio State 53-50.
That's all I got to say, man. It's at home.
I'm gonna go Ohio State 61-59. Wisconsin.
You know what? Wisconsin 63, Ohio State 48.
Wisconsin winning a big one.
Yep, I got the Badgers.
Yeah, he's got the Badgers, man.
Finally, we got Buckeye Mike for the win.
He's going to pick Wisconsin.
Not bad pick, Austin. Not bad. Your your score's too low. Your difference in the score is too low. I'm gonna go Badgers, putting up an 80 burger on the Buckeyes, and I'll give Ohio State. We'll be nice. We'll go 80-50, Wisconsin.
I don't know if Wisconsin's capable of putting up 80 right now.
Well, it'll give Ohio State more motivation if they actually win for once, and they're like, stop making the university look horrid. Here's a good idea. Everybody on the team, why don't you just enter the transfer portal at the end of the year? Because it's obvious that you don't belong here. That's a good point. It realistically could be that instead.
80-50 is not going to happen, and 50-20 is not going to happen. Okay, I can guarantee you that neither of those are going to happen. Okay.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Indiana, yes, they were on the up and up of the roller coaster. But when you only score 30 points and a half and you give up 46 and a half, that's very deflating, and it makes fan base have no belief in the team at all.
I mean, you do realize that, Ohio State will probably be favored.
I don't care.
I'm just saying, like,
is not going to win this game.
Talk about last stand like Florida. This is Ohio State's last stand. Need a win. They got to get a win.
And it's not going to happen. I mean, you lose to Minnesota at home the way you did. That was stupid. You lose to Nebraska on the road the way you did. That was stupid and bad. You lost to Indiana in a blowout. I mean, the team has nothing motivational wise to play for. I mean, just give up. The season's over. Pack it in. Have everybody transfer out. Start with a new team next year, and start over. It's just how it works.
Yeah. Well, Connor Johnson's asking, is Indiana good? Notre Dame, Bama, Louisville? Well, Bama's pretty good. Indiana's just getting back to the top 25. Indiana and Notre Dame, good Lord, they're not doing so hot. Louisville, excuse me. Yeah, Louisville. They're so forgettable.
I'll take it from here, Jackson. I'll take it from here, buddy. Louisville, we are garbage.
Yeah, Notre Dame's not much better this season. Not a great year. A disappointing year after making the tournament last year.
But hey, at least Indiana and Purdue are making the state look good. Congrats to the state of Indiana on that.
Yeah, they're keeping it afloat with Butler and Notre Dame down for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, any final thoughts before we head off?
Really excited about the Texas Baylor game tomorrow, and then Kansas State. Those are much watched TV right there.
I'm excited about that Sunflower Showdown. Remember, everyone watching this live stream, if Kansas State sweeps Kansas, it will be the first time since 1983 that has happened. Think about that, Kansas State. You do that, you will be able to accomplish something that hasn't been accomplished since 40 years ago.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of these games. Kansas State, Indiana, Maryland. There's a lot of good games. So, I think that should be fun, beginning of the week with college basketball. And I'm looking forward to all these games, see what happens, especially with all these teams that really need a win, like Florida or, Texas Tech, see or they can get a win. Ohio State to try to get Syracuse get back on the bubble, on the right side of the bubble.
I'm looking forward to all the blowouts that we're going to have and all the cruddy things. It's a very limited amount of that we're going to have. And, yeah. Notre Dame keep losing. VCU start your long losing streak and hopefully Davidson can snatch this goal today. And yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Have a
Thanks.
good night, everybody.
Thanks for being here.
Like and subscribe.